Okay, you can start, Purnima.
International Women's Day is the celebration of incredible women driving change in the world, may it be small or large, making them a crucial part of innovation and creativity circles. Good evening, everyone. My name is Purnima Surve, a public healthcare intern in Swalife Biotech. I am thrilled to host this session of monthly Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Innovation Talk series, an initiative taken by Swalife Foundation and Swalife Biotech Limited. On today's session, we are honored to have Dr. A. Maria Jackson as the guest speaker who will present the sixth session of the series. Today's topic is innovation in product development from idea to launch. We'll explore how ideas come to life, how challenges are overcome, and how innovation in product development takes shape from conception to launch. I will now hand over the session to Dr. Praveen Badhe to introduce our today's speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnima. So I welcome Dr. Jackson for today's session. So we are honored to have Dr. Jackson as our speaker in this Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Innovation Talk series that we have started on the on Abdul Kalam, Dr. Abdul Kalam's uh, the birth anniversary, and this is our sixth talk. So Dr. Jackson will be giving talk on the product development idea to to the product. He's a mechanical engineer with the business model expertise as a speaker in the innovation, product development, and startup ecosystem. He holds a PhD from Anna University, Chennai, and have extensive experience in academia and industry, simultaneously mentoring students and leading innovative projects. Currently, he is serving as an assistant professor at SRM TRP Engineering College and is actively involved in research, then patent, then coordinating multiple projects. With a passion for business modeling, lean startup, and automotive engineering, Dr. Jackson has contributed significantly to entrepreneurial innovation and has mentored numerous teams in product development challenges. So hopefully today he will be sharing insight on innovation in product development from idea to launch, and that's what it is very important that how student can develop, or student, or even the startup, even the person who is having idea, the entrepreneur. It is important to understand that how innovation can actually develop a product from the idea and how they can launch it. So with this, definitely we will have some valuable guidance from a researcher, an entrepreneur, and a person who has already guided so many students. So thank you, Dr. Jackson, for accepting our invites. Over to you, Purnima.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to hand over the session to Dr. A. Maria Jackson. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you so much for the warm welcome and the opportunity to address on behalf of Swayam Foundation. So let me share my screen first. So as I was saying, it was a great opportunity to address the people on entrepreneurship in my based on the experiments that I have towards innovation and entrepreneurship. I'm very humbled and feeling privileged to have an opportunity to talk, especially on the series of the legend Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's. And myself, as briefly introduced, my name is Jackson, an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. And so the first disclaimer is to disclose that all the images and trademarks or the brand names utilized are only for educational purpose and nothing commercial is meant to be shared through this presentation here. So as insisted, the outline of our title, our session stands as innovation, where we're going to understand between the invention and innovation, and we're going to learn about the problem identification, how we are about to define a problem statement. Moving on, then we will be covering over product development, where we will be discussing on design thinking concepts and the TRL, technology readiness level. And then lastly, we will be addressing the issues and the steps involved in launching our idea into a product, where we have to be understanding the scenario of market in the real time. We will be learning about market segmentation and one effective way to launch a product that is minimum viable product. So this is the outline and the outline of the session that we are about to cover today. So as insisted, creativity is seeing the same thing but thinking differently. One of the most favorite quote from my personal favorite quote from Kalam sir. So everything in modern education or modern industry is about creativity, rather than we are addressing in the term of innovation alone, where we are applying the creativity into a scientific principle, and by creating value to the either product or in terms of service. That is how we are evolving in the modern world. So moving on to understanding the difference between invention and innovation. So there is a term called innovative invention. That is what is happening in academics as well as in industries in the modern days. So basically, innovation is something that has adapted from the invention. There are so many inventions that is available in the scientific world. There are some unrealized inventions that is being understood by the scientist of the community. So the objective of the business people as well as innovator is to make use of those scientific principles into a problem statement, so that we will be able to solve the problem statement and get a better solution, so that the lifestyle of ours will be keep on growing. So that is how innovation is being developed from the invention that has been already there. So the objective of an innovator or an entrepreneur is not to invent something. The only objective is to find the solution using the invention that is available in the scientific era. So to have a basic understanding from the basics of science, I have given electromagnetic spectrum. This is the science that is inventions being found over the year in the scientific community, where we have various kinds of spectrums, starting from radio waves to gamma rays. So this is completely basic science, as it is invented by so many scientists over the period, where the objective of the innovator is to find the application for those waves. Radio waves are being used for communication, and microwaves are used to in oven like heating purposes, and infrared to activate or send signals through without contact. And then there is visible spectrum, where we have light, and then ultraviolet. There are medical X-rays. X-rays are commonly now addressed as medical X-rays only. So, and then there are gamma rays, which are used in so many industrial applications. So that is how inventions are being put into a product or put into a service, so that a new product is developed, and that is how inventions are being converted into innovations. So before getting into the stage of invention, the right key to start, the right place to start is to find the correct problem. If you are able to define the problem in the best way possible by understanding the scenario that you are trying to address, then almost the solution is obtained. So 90% of the solution lies in identification of the problem. Also, how you are able to define the problem. As long as the problem statement is good enough or big enough, so that even the complex things can be break down into simple things, so that we will be able to solve the problem in an easiest way. So first stage for any innovator or entrepreneur is to identify the correct problem that can be either addressing a communal challenge or a societal need, or even in recent days we are utilizing SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, into the picture for identifying the problems. So this is one of my personal favorite example that I have collected through the various Smart India hackathons throughout the India in the past 3 years. So this is one of the best example for understanding empathy. So usually when people travel, when people walk with crutches, especially after any accident scenarios where they are physically amputated by means of either a leg or even in case of both the legs, the crutches are used to give a balance to them. So one such girl was able to empathize herself into one of her fellow street neighborhood. Then she was able to understand the pain that she was going through, and then she starts to think about a solution where the shocks can be reduced. When she was about to talk with them, she was able to understand that rather than the pain of amputation, the pain that the crutches are giving to their shoulders was big enough, and it was not easy to go through with. So she started to apply the concept of suspension. That is a very common scientific principle being utilized in almost all the areas, especially in automobiles, where we have suspension to damp our shocks. So she started to remodify that crutches by introducing two mono suspension springs at the bottom of the crutches, so that the vibrations that has been felt from the ground is not as much as when it was reaching the shoulders of the fellow handicapped person. So a simple observation with the mentality of empathy was able to deliver a simple product with a simple solution, but the moral value or the empathetical problem solved, there was so much big. The pain solved was so much big. So that is how we are about to start our innovation path, finding a simple problem, but it has to be a serious pain point. So that is how we are about to solve any kind of problems in the modern days. So if I ask, why should I understand the problem statement? What is the necessity of problem statement? If you are given away with a image like this, whenever I am trying to teach one of my fellow students, I will be sharing this picture to him. Then the immediate response that I am collecting from them is, so this is a picture from a school where the subjects are being taught. With the presence of masks, they were able to classify this among, with the case of COVID, where we have been predominantly using masks for our own safety, and each and everyone was supposed to wear, including the faculty. So that is the case that everybody was able to come up with when I show this in an early stage. So when I add a data to that, so I am adding one data that is an year to the picture, where I am representing it as this picture was taken in 2016, where the complete scenario of understanding this image was changed. Because we know that COVID is a situation that has evolved around 2019 and 20s. So in 2016, there is no possibility of COVID. So that brings up to a lot of changes into the understanding. Then they are trying to put up with various data into the picture. So this can be any kind of information, any kind of picture, any kind of data, any kind of day. So then I am adding one more additional data into the picture, where I am giving this picture was taken in Delhi. Then including you, everyone was able to corner it into a situation of air pollution, where people were mandated to wear masks. So a complete picture of a scenario was giving me an idea of COVID situation. Adding a data that is an year 2016 eradicated the picture, eradicated the COVID from the picture. Then with a lot of opportunities and options in the consideration, adding another data, Delhi has given a specific situation where this picture was able to be taken. So that is how we are adding data to our problem statement. So we are finding a societal problem, and then we are drafting a problem statement. Means we are supposed to add as much as data into the picture. So then you will be getting a proper addressing a problem statement. Then we will be able to get a better solution that will solve the problem in a real time. So one way to get a problem statement canvas was one of the key tool in understanding your problem statement. So this is a mostly used canvas in all those students community in recent days, where they are trying to address their problem statement with this. So there are contexts, there are customers, there are emotional and quantifiable impact, and there are potential alternatives in the picture, and then alternatives shortcomings. So by filling out these data, you will be able to find the root cause of the problem, that is this zone. So that is the objective of coming up with the problem statement canvas. So I'm going to start with the context, and then I will be filling on every data that I know about the problem I am considering. Then I will be able to get a clear-cut idea of what the problem that I am addressing now. So that is how the step goes. So one of the example that we have utilized is for understanding this is when a group of students approached me to create or participate in a competition called Electrical Two-Wheeler Design Challenge conducted by SAE. So rather than going for a rule book and then following almost same kind of vehicles in every year, we have decided to address this in a different perspective. So then we have sit together with a team of 10 people, and then we have started to fill out the problem statement canvas. So they have started to realize their core. So first they have absolutely identified that this is going to be a day-to-day commuting vehicle. So where I will be traveling from my workplace to my home or home to workplace, vice versa. That is how the vehicle will be utilized. So there is no other considerations, and especially this is going to be the target market will be customers of 25 to 40 years, where since we are working on electrical vehicle, we are concentrating on young minds, which is very adaptable, and it will be very easy to market the product to them rather than fighting over with the old people. And then there is a perspective of safety we have included in the problem statement itself. So we have identified our customers, then we have started to disclose why should someone in 25 to 40 years require an electrical vehicle for their daily commuting from workplace to living place. So the emotional impact that it has given is, so the tiredness of feeling utilizing public service vehicles or any kind of transportation other than personal transportation has an emotional impact. There is an uncomfortableness, constant uncomfortableness, and then there is a feeling of tiredness in their lifestyle. So the quantifiable impact is providing a budget friendly as well as better rates on their own will give them a protective of 2 healthy hours with their family. So that has been quantified as a significant value while designing the product. So then we have shifted ourselves to what are the alternatives that is available to them. So there are so many electrical vehicles available in the market. Even Honda, Ather, there are so many people are creating electrical vehicles in the market, and there are some vehicles available for rental too. In urban cities like Bangalore and Chennai, there will be availability of electrical vehicles for rental is so good, where you can utilize an app to rent a vehicle, and then you can get back to your lifestyle without caring about the vehicle itself. So what we have found it as shortcoming is the commercial vehicles are able to run for 100 kilometer, almost 90 to 100 kilometer per hour. It was the design value. So we have decided to reduce the top speed of the vehicle so that the range of the vehicle will be improved, obviously. And then the cost of the vehicle will be reduced since we are concentrating on lower capacity of motors. And since we are planning for urban city transportations only, we might not be able to reach the top speed that has been intended for the vehicle in most of the cases in commercial vehicles. So we have been started to design the product for a lesser top speed, that is around 50 to 60 kmph alone. That is how we have started to work on our project. So the final statement that we were able to define is unavailability of a medium speed, high comfort, better range vehicles with safety feature for riders at moderate cost. So this is the problem statement that we have designed. After deciding this as our problem statement, then we have started to solve the problem by using so many technologies. That has been an evasive process to complete the vehicle. So the final vehicle we were able to obtain was this one, where the size of the vehicle was reduced to at most 2/3 of the commercial vehicles. Still, the power required for the vehicle was good enough to carry 2 riders. As I was mentioning, the hub motor was able to thrust the vehicle to a top speed of 50 km per hour. So that is why we were able to apply a concept of problem statement canvas into fine-tuning our statement. Whereas this vehicle was uploaded for its own design and unique thought process for coming into the picture, because other vehicles that has been participating in the competition was going for thrust, they were going for power, they were going for racing, where we were able to design a commercial vehicle. That was one of the unique point delivered by the jury, from the jury itself. So that is how we have utilized the problem statement canvas in one of the scenarios. But most of the cases we have been utilizing problem statement canvas for as one key identifier for defining our problem statement. So the next stage of our presentation is to moving on to ideation process. So I have a problem statement. I have a problem. I have redefined my problem into a clear and concise problem statement. So I have a better idea now. So I know what I need. So how am I going to reach that solution? So there are so many tools that has been utilized in day-to-day life, but one of the most efficient tool according to the learner's perspective is design thinking. So design thinking is one of the key tool where you will be able to empathize with the person who is having that as a pain point. Then you will be able to define the problem, what he or she is feeling or the community is feeling with because of that problem. Then you will be ideating with your help of your team members, where there are so many tools, and brainstorming is one of the best example for ideation process. coming up with so many options. Then we will be shortlisting the best option among the brainstormed ideas. Then we will be developing a prototype. Then we will put into test. That is how the iteration will be kept on going. If there is a problem with the test, then I get back to ideation, or I will be getting back to understanding the problem, defense phase also. So this is a completely iterative process. That is how the process of ideation is happening. Giving it to a real-time picture, let us take a case study of one of the commercial patent by Mr. Sriram Vasudevan, my design guru. I would like to thank him for the patent that he has developed, and he was able to share the experience with us in one of the presentation. So I'm going to consider myself as a person who is attending one of the funeral of my family members. Let us take one of my friend's family. So when I visit the funeral home and I start asking questions about the reason of the demise, so I was able to find that was a grandfather of my friend, and he was around 60 plus years old. The reason behind the demise is he lost consciousness inside the bathroom, and sadly he has to pass away. So that is how the scenario was happened. So rather than just collecting the data and moving away from that place, I have started to empathize with the person who was demised. So then I started to do some research, ask as many data as possible from the people around there. Then I am making the stage of define, where I was able to undergo a research, and amongst 198 bathrooms that has been taken in one of the research, as I have sourced here in 2015, slippery floor, door with inadequate space. There are so many reasons, but the accidents that has been happening inside the bathroom, especially with respect to old age people, is so high. So that has to be definitely addressed. So that is the problem that I have initially obtained during the stage of defining. So when I started to look into greater depths for a depth of understanding, so I was able to understand the slippery floor is one reason, and there are so many commercial markets addressing that problem with the help of tiles and any kind of mats and all. They are addressing the problem. So I wanted to give this as a different perspective. So I'm not going to eradicate the concept of slippery floor. Whereas I was able to understand in most cases, when elderly people fall into their bathroom, they were unable to get the help of their relatives, whoever is accommodating them in their home, especially with the doors locked inside. It was very difficult for them to communicate to people outside the bathroom. If even at the case of the demise, most of the doctors were able to disclose that this accident has happened at least half an hour to 1 hour before. Why was the delay in the process? So that is why we were unable to help. That is how most of the cases were addressed. So we have been able to get into the depth where I'm not going to concentrate on eradicating slippery floor, or I'm not going to attempt to stop them from falling. So my concentration is little better, where I am going to concentrate on, irrespective of all those research and installations, if someone has fallen on the floor, the objective of myself is to make sure he was able to communicate that he has fallen into the relatives in the house. So that is how the problem statement was defined. So I had a clarity of direction on which I have to be obtaining solution. So when I started to ideate the process, if I start to ideate the process using this as a problem statement, there are so many options that has been given away by my students. One such is installing voice activated system, where even a minimal sound of particular encrypted code can create an alarm, so that when the alarm goes off, people might be able to break the door and get inside to seek attention to that whoever is requiring that medical attention. So next one, if he was not able to make noise due to the shock or something, we were attempting to provide some kind of push buttons nearby the floor so that they will be able to communicate. So all those ideas have been evolved. On most cases, we have considered the worst case scenario where he loses consciousness or his confidence while he has fallen down the floor. So on those situations, he will not be not directly communicate to the external people who is accommodating with him. So we plan to devise a system which indicates that someone has fallen on the floor, irrespective of bathroom or whatever it is. If someone falls on the floor, there has to be an activation system that tells me that someone has fallen. So that is how we have started to evolve. When studying this into the greater picture, we were able to identify a simple solution, that is piezoelectric sensors, which will create electrical signals when given a mechanical force as input. So while installing this into those what you call tiles or marbles or whatever in the floor, if someone has if someone steps over it, it should not be sending the signal. If someone actually falls over it, it should have created a signal. So that is how we are able to change the system during the prototype, that if someone falls, he will not be standing on a single tile or single platform or single marble or whatever it is. So he will be covering a surface area, considering at least 3 or 4 tiles to be touched. This is the least case. When it comes to worst case, he will be falling and he will be in a flat position. We will be able to cover 8 or 9 tiles. In this case, at least he might have been covering 4 or 5 tiles at least. So upon prototyping, he was able to change the programming such that upon activation of 4 or 5 tiles, he or she might be able to make sure that it has been communicated to the system. When 4 piezoelectric sensors are activated, then there is a serious condition of someone has fallen into the floor, and then the alarm goes off. So an independent system of alarm system has been created without intervening or requiring any communication in any form, not even in the vocal form, not even in the physical form. Simply, if he has fallen, then the information will be communicated. So that is how it has been prototyped and tested, and number of piezoelectric sensors has been installed for every floor. And that is how this has been evolved into a patent. One of the personal life tragedy of Sriram Vasudevan, where he has lost his grandparent, and then he started to work this with the team of their project, their students, and then he was able to get a patent using this concept. So I am just re-engineered such that how design thinking might have been utilized for him if he has evolved this problem statement into a pattern. So I am just re-engineering this. The pattern belongs to Mr. Sriram Vasudevan. So one another example that I can tell about design thinking product is, so this is one of the case of IIM students where they were able to create one of the market breakthrough with the help of NASO filters. One of the students' parent had an allergic reaction to dust. So she was the mother. She was not able to come out very frequently with the help of wearing the mask. She doesn't like to come out with wearing the mask because it was the scenario behind COVID where wearing mask will definitely give a bad idea about the hygiene or health of the person that is wearing. So nowadays the mask has been commonly acceptable thing only. So during that time, he wanted to make sure that her mother feels comfortable while coming out of her living place. She has to be he has to be visiting the market. She has to be attending the functions of the family without wearing the mask. So that is the problem statement that he had. So technically speaking, the objective of mask is to, especially in allergic situations, the dust should not be getting through their nasal inputs. So that is the objective. So he was able to design a nasal filter as shown in the picture, which might be a very easily use and throw type, where you can just peel over the sticker and you can just stick it over under the nose. Unless otherwise someone picks from under, they will not be able to see it because the color was very transparent and it will match with anybody who is actually of the color that she is. So that is how this product has revolutionized market. Again, this is one of the best example for how design thinking has been used as an effective tool in patenting an innovative product. And this is another example where prototyping was got into picture. In early stages of nursing, it was very difficult to find the nerve while feeding the IV line into the patients. Considering young kids like children and especially with toddlers in pictures, in cases of introducing IV into their line, it is very difficult for them. So what people have done is they have started to make the process easy for undergraduate students where they are actually in the phase of training. If he or she has experience, then it will be an easy process. But in order to make sure that the learning process is relatively better for even the patient, they have developed a product like this, where the prototype that you are seeing in the middle picture is various shapes that has been evolved during the period of testing. The challenge is the nurse who is about to install the IV will have a syringe in their hand, and the person who is injecting will have only one hand left. So with that help, they have to hold the patient's hand. At the same time, they are supposed to hold this device. That is how the prototype evolves. So the final product has come out something like this, where the lights that has been kept under the product was able to find give an idea, a better idea of where the vein is, so that the nurse will be easily able to inject in terms of nerve injections, and the patients had a better confidence over the process of injecting, especially with the practicing people at the early stages. So this is one example. One another example where prototyping and design thinking has played a vital role in designing the final product. So moving on to the last stage, that is new product development. So the first two stages are about understanding the innovation, understanding the differences between invention and innovation, and especially the second stage is about design thinking, where the problem statement can be addressed in a proper way, such that the solution can be obtained will be very efficient by following 5 stages with the help of your team, that is either in terms of student or any office team that you are actually using in the R&D department. So that is how the concept has been evolved. So when you start to work on a new product development, there has to be 3 key things that you need to be understanding in mind. You have to keep in mind. One is novelty. Everybody will be talking about novelty of your idea. The invention must be the first of its kind. So that is how the definition goes. But modern days are ready to accept the already existing innovation can be utilized in a different scenario, giving a different value to the product, then that can be considered as novel also. And then second one is it has to be a non-obvious thing. Simply by giving a color difference, you cannot claim that as a new product or novel idea. You have the addition that you are providing to the existing system should have a value addition to the product or service that you are actually providing. And then the utility. One of the most lagging concept in the IPRs of Indian community, especially with the academicians in the picture, the utility of the patent, in a way that MOE quotes, the commercial transformation is not actually happening. With almost when you draw the graph between number of IPRs granted over these years of last few years, and then the commercialization happened with the help of or through the IPRs, this is very low. So the utility has to be kept in mind, so that all the efforts that you are putting together to create a patent or to create a product or to create a service will have a value in the market. And then in terms only you can actually get back into in terms of value or in terms of money, whatever you are actually trying to harvest, you will be able to harvest. So the utility is the primemost thing. That is, there has to be an actual need and there has to be a potential buyers for whatever you are developing in your backyard. So that is how you are supposed to make sure that you are actually developing a new product. So getting this into a detailed manner, I can take a classic example for novelty, where the stumps of a cricket game will be utilized. So initially, this is the mostly used stumps where the biles and stumps will be of only white in color. So the challenge with the umpires or even third umpires is the wicket will be declared based on the time or the moment the biles took off from the stumps. So that is the very crucial factor when it comes to making a decision about a wicket. So the moment has to be properly freezed, either with the help of TV or the umpires has to be, it has to be easy enough for the umpires to look through the barrage that they can be able to freeze the timeline in their visual perspective where the biles has exactly took off from the stumps. So that is one of the crucial factor. So people started to address with different things. So this is one of the second stage of evolution where the biles has been given a different color, usually in a wooden color, so that white and wooden color will have a contrast. And then people have even tried to work on with this kind of stumps. The contrasting colors will have a better chances of getting the exact moment of taking off of the biles. But these are all things that will not come under novelty, because these are non-obvious inventions. As I said, adding a color to the picture. So this was not a definite or quantifiable impact into the picture. So the actual quantifiable impact is, as we all know, the LED stumps that has been used in our market. So the novelty is rather than by physical or visual appearances. So they have installed a set of LED bulbs inside the stumps, and there has been proper wirings inside. So the light will start to glitter or glow at the very moment when the biles took off from the stump. So that is how a technology has been utilized to address the problem of or the pain point of the umpires to make the decision at the right time. So this is how the novelty has to be finalized. So just simply giving some non-obvious solution will not be considered as novel. There has to be a visible difference from the existing setup. And as I said, there has to be an inventive step. Technical value has to be implemented. So this is one of the moment where Ashadip Singh was able to broke a stump twice in a day. Even the commentary, they have said the cost of the stumps are during those time that it takes around 35 lakhs or something. I'm not sure about the number. It takes around in lakhs for a pair of stumps. The reason behind it is it's not the cost of manufacturing, or it's not the cost of technology. It is the cost of patent. Since the owner who has made the stumps has patented it, in order to make use of the technology that has been patented by someone, that is the royalty that you are paying for them. So that is how the price of the stumps are fixed. So technically the manufacturing cost will be far lower than the actual selling cost, just because of this inventive step, the value that he has added, the inventor has added into the product. So clearly the inventive step is there has been a series of sensors and indicators inside that, where they were able to actually find, and the error of the sensors was minimized into a greater value, so that the exact moment of taking of biles has been identified, and correspondingly the lights has been glowing. So that is how they are adding value into the product. So it has become novel, it has become non-obvious that there is an inventive step science behind that. And the third one, utility. As we all know, being an Indian, we must be able to know the craze that we hold for cricket. Either it can be in terms of IPL, or in terms of ICC tournament, or even in terms of tours. We used to support cricket in a greater way in a global manner. So utility is definitely there. No one is going to argue on having less utility on the product. As I said, the cost has been around 30 lakhs for a concept of stumps, and still they are able to accept the value, and they are able to produce that into the competition and into the field of utilization. So that is how the value has to be considered. When you are going for a new product development, I strongly recommend you to find that there is an actual utility. Without an utility, you will not be able to commercialize your IP. Without a novelty, you will not be able to get an IP actually. So that is how you are supposed to decide on your new product development, whether I should be going on the theme, whether I should be developing this product into the market or not. So that is how you are supposed to decide on your new product development. So the next stage, so I have a new product development, so or I am in the process of new product development. So how should I evaluate myself? So the most important key is to go through TRLs, technology readiness level. There are so many RLs. Technology readiness levels is there, MRL is there, manufacturing readiness, investment readiness level is there. But as an inventor or an innovator, our objective is to settle with TRLs. So even when you are pitching your product development into the market, or to your teammates, or into your business people, or venture capitalist, or whoever it is. So the immediate questions that they are asking in these days are TRL. What is the stage of your TRL? How technically you are ready? So as I said, the basic things will be from the identified idea, where the basic principles observed that this might help you in solving the problem. So that basic principle are finding will be TRL1. Second one is technology concept. So that those scientific principles can be put together, and that can generate a technology. So that formulation of technology will be the second level. Where on third level, there has to be a proof of concept. Proof of concept is the way where you are not just theoretically, even experimentally, you will be able to prove the concept in a smaller scale. So there has to be a minimum proof that the idea that you are proposing is working. So that is where research plays the role. The research lab ends there, TRL3. So TRL4 is you are experimenting with that proof of concept in a lab. For example, if you are an academician, the proof of concept will stay with the guide alone, and then you are utilizing that problem or that solution into an actual laboratory field. And then in a relevant environment, rather than in a lab suit, they are simulating in a relevant environment, and then industrial environment. That will be TRL5. And that is how it has been evolving. So you have to be working in simulated environment in TRL6. And then 8 and 9 will be the final stage of deployment, where the real world will be coming into picture, where the operational environment will be coming into picture, and the aesthetics will come into picture, how your product will look actually. Those things will be coming under TRL 8 and 9. So this is how you are supposed to rank yourself or your product in the stage. So when you start ranking your product on an honest opinion on this scale, then you will be able to understand where you are and how you are supposed to improve the quality of your product. If there is a problem comes around, if your proof of concept works but it is not able to work in a simulated environment, then you have to come back to the proof of concept, consider the failure into the picture, then you have to rework. That is how iteration starts, and you will be getting into step-by-step process. That is how TRLs will be a greater tool for you if you are actually trying to put that product into a real world. So what happens? What is the actual problem with the TRLs? So as listed below, the TRLs 1 to 3. So academics will stop at stage 3. Student will come over, they will talk about the problem, they will create a proof of concept, they will make sure that it is possible. On worst cases, people will develop a prototype that is in the validation, validate that in the laboratory session. The worst case, and academics or universities will pull the project or ideas into this TRL stage of 4 alone. And industry will be concentrating on higher end. So everything is ready, demonstration is done. If you are ready with the demonstration, then come back to me. Then I can actually implement and find a right market for you. That is where industry stands. So the 5, 6, and 7 are the most challenging zone. If you are in the academia, you will be stopped at 4. But you have to pull yourself up and you have to be keep on testing with the data. Even if the students have left the university, even if your teammates have left the university, you have to stick together, and then you have to pull the idea into the stages of 5 and 6 and 7. Once you cross to 7 and your actual product has a utility, industry will come over to you and take the commercialization process into the stage, and you will be able to get the product delivered and you will be paid right enough for that. So the challenge is there. That is how you are supposed to pull yourself to the TRLs. So as we talk about TRLs, NASA is the best example, or even I can say stand tall in utilizing TRLs into the picture. So the jet engine that you are seeing here, I could show you the closer picture. Yeah, the jet engine by Boeing you are seeing here it has been in the market around 2007 or 8. After it has been deployed to market in 2005. The stages to TRL 8 was happened around 2005. The proof of concept, that is TRL stages of basic science and proof of concept, has been developed around 1980s. So it took around 25 years for even NASA to launch a product. We know the scope of the product is greater. That is very big thing. But even for a period of 25 years, they believed that TRL will work. So, and they have even given this as a case study for us to believe in the TRL. So how the basic science involved in the jet nozzle has been studied with the help of simulation alone, with the help of scientific principles, and then they have made so many mini prototypes of blasting that air through that nozzle. So and then they have obtained results, and then they have checked for aerodynamics, and then they have produced in a full-time project, and then they have made flight test, and then they have launched it to the market with the help of Federal Aviation Administration. They have made sure that the product is qualified and good enough for a commercial application, and then they have sold the product into the market. So that is how TRL sounds very good enough for you to make sure that you evolve during the product development in the right way. So TRLs are the best key factor for you to evaluate yourself, where you stand, and what is the next stage that you have, and what you should be doing to reach the upper stages. If you pitch your project, or if you pitch your product at the level of TRL 7, where you have actually tested the product in the real-time scenario, real-time environment, the opportunities of getting funding, the opportunities of getting the product into the market is so high. But most cases, people fail to carry over the project or product at the stages of 4 and 5. There are so many reasons for that, starting from funding to consistency, workloads. There are so many reasons why people give up on the stages of TRL 4 and 5. If you are actually developing a product, rank yourself in the TRLs and make a continuous progression so that you will be able to get the actual value for the efforts that you have put behind the development of the product. So that is how NASA works with the TRL, and this is one of the most important example and lesson for us to make a self-evaluation. So right now I have actually developed a product. Imagine that I have developed a product. I am going for launch. So that is the last objective of the session. I am actually starting to launch my project. So what are the reasons the startups fail? There are so many reasons other than the things that I have listed here. One thing that I need to address here is product market fit. So finding the right time and the right market to launch the product is one of the most important concept that you need to understand in the perspective of customers alone. And there are so many reasons, as insisted. Business model has to be properly made. There has to be a good team. There has to be a proper flow of cash during the process of launching of the startups. So to make sure that your project or product or concept succeeds, you need to understand some basic terminologies of the market. Even though you are settling yourself in the product development zone, you need to understand the market in a better manner. So for which we are going to make understanding in two things. One is customer versus consumer. Second one is market segmentation. Two ideal things you need to understand, even if you do not worry about your business perspective. You might have a good team of business people. You might have a good team of entrepreneurs who can actually pitch your product and get into your pictures. But even for technical advancement, even for technology development, you need to understand some basic things. One is customer versus consumer. When you launch a product, there are two way you are getting paid. That is either through customer or through consumer. Consumer is someone who is utilizing your product. Customer is someone who is paying for the product. In some cases, customers and consumers are same. In some cases, customers and consumers are different. So let us take some examples and see here, where I have a first picture of educational fair, where there is a team from the university representing their best practices to the targeted customers, where the parent and the student are actually getting their idea on the products. So on this situation, the student is the customer. Student is the consumer who is going to utilize the knowledge that has been that is about to be transferred from the academicians. But the one who is actually going to pay for that, in most cases, I should say, in most cases, is parents. So customers is parent, consumer is the student, and we have to have a clear idea. The expectations of the customers and consumers are very different. Where the consumer wants to make sure she has the freedom over the process of learning, as well as through establish herself in the field of various things in terms of arts. Even if for an engineering institution, people are interested in doing arts, they're interested in showcasing their skills in extracurricular activities. So that will be the need for perspective of the consumer, where the customer will be concentrating only on the quality of academics, the quality of teachers, the placement percentage. That is how they will be addressing. So for a same product, that is educational system, we have two different people as customer and consumer, for which customer is going to pay, consumer is going to utilize. We have to satisfy both of them. In cases of another classic example is diapers, where the babies are consumer and the customer is actually who's going to pay is parent. And the pictures of chocolate. Most of the cases, nobody is actually buying a chocolate and consumes for themselves. In most cases, this will be a simplest or easiest gift to share happiness. So that is how the customer and consumers are actually varying in these scenarios. So for creating a product development, you should be knowing who is your customer and who is your consumer, who are you going to satisfy during the process of utilization of the product, and the value that you are going to propose should be satisfying both the customer and the consumer. This is one of the key factors that you have to keep in mind if you are developing a product. Second thing, as I said, is market segmentation. So there is actually a special workshop that will go around 6 or 7 hours in physical mode, where you will be able to understand each and every term that is kept here. If you are into the market, if you are into the entrepreneur, if you are into the digital marketing, then this will be the key phase for you to understand. But as an entrepreneur, but as an inventor, we can actually keep it in a basic level of understanding, where this picture can help you understand what is market segmentation. In most of the supermarkets, you will be able to get to see this stand, where there will be toothpaste stacked around, and literally the objective of toothpaste is almost the same for every industry, but you could be able to see coexistence of all those manufacturers. You can see Colgate, you can see Pepsodent, you can see Dabur, whatever that comes into the picture. Everything will be stacked into the market. People will walk through it and they will be getting their own brand based on their need or whatever it is. So it is not just about Colgate or Pepsodent or whatever it is. There is actually a segmentation inside the Colgate itself, where there is a whitening, there is a toothache solving problem, and there is a cavity problem. There are so many issues that are being addressed by Colgate itself. So there is a self-segmentation in the simple brand itself, and there is a segmentation for each and every brand. So that is how people are getting so many options in the market. So what is the objective of it? You is to find the actual market gap that your product will fit in. Then start evaluating your product in that market segmentation that you are pitching. So that is one of the key area that every inventor should be addressing. So what is the exact market that I am targeting? There is so many terms called TAM, TOM, and SOM. There are so many interesting concepts are behind the market. But the basic idea you should be having is what is the market segmentation that I am addressing. So once you have found your market, there is one phase where you can actually save money or save embarrassment, even I can say, without making your startup fail. People are utilizing MVP, minimum viable product, into the picture. Minimum viable products or minimum viable business. So this is one interesting example for you to understand. So take for instance, I am a baker. I am making a cake for a wedding. So which is almost equal to a royal wedding. I am making a 3-story or 4-story cake for their celebration. So I have to develop the actual cake. I am trying a different recipe. Then I should not be making that as a final stage. So what I should be doing is I should be making a flavor check. In my own bakery, I need to make a simplest product. So either I can settle with a cupcake where I can only get to make that fresh cream. That is minimum. I cannot settle happy with the what you call mousse or whatever it is in their own time. I cannot be settled or satisfied with the minimum product. So there has to be an interaction of the dough, that is your cake, with that cream. So how these two actually sit together so that I will be able to have a better taste of whatever the product that I am making. So that minimum viable stands with the perspective of tasting the whole cake, but in a easiest manner or simplest manner. By tasting this simple minimum viable product or this piece, I could make the required corrective changes in the final product without even losing my face or without even losing my money. So that is how minimum viable things can save you from the actual embarrassment or even most cases of failures of startups. So that is how MVPs are most recommended in any kind of new product development, especially with respect to money involved factors. If your startup has less value of money to spend over the launch of the product, instead of taking risk over the final product, you can actually run a minimum viable product with a set of people. You usually able to understand what I am talking about when I say beta versions of softwares are available. Even ChatGPT was available in the beta version in the early stage. So those are all the MVPs where people will be utilizing, and the bugs will be reported. Upon reporting on the bugs, they will be able to correct the product, and then the final product will be launched to the complete audience. Before addressing it to the complete audience, you are making a test run either within the industry, or even you can give it to randomly to certain population size. Then you will be able to get your fine tuning of your product without losing the whole customers. So this is how the flow happens inside an MVP. Usually the proof of concept will be the first circle of line. Then alpha testing will be happening within the industry. If my team is working on a project, I am a developer of the project, then I have developed it, then I will be circulating my project within my team, where that will be considered as alpha. Then I will be releasing RC. RC is release candidate, where the ideas will be the product or app will be distributed within my company. Then I will be creating a MVP upon the suggestions or improvements quoted by the team that has been testing. I have developed an MVP. Now I am launching it to a beta version. Beta version is something where the end users are actually customers. If I am targeting 1,000 customers, my test phase will be around 100 to 50 customers. So that these mistakes, these updations will be settled with only the 10 to 50 members, where I have 950 people who are ready to test my product without having an understanding of or the problems that has been in the beta version. So that is how MVP can actually give you a greater safeguard before getting into the market. So what should an MVP have? MVP must have a minimum factor of all those possibilities. The left side is the best form of MVP, where you have the pink region is the available in the MVP. There has to be a showcase of how your product design will be. how it is going to be appealing, how usable that is, and what are all the functions. If you might have 1,000 functions in your product, at least you should be quoting 8 or 9 functions at least. So that is how MVP is generated. Whereas in the right side, out of 1,000, I have given 50 or 100, even 100 functionalities I have given in my product. But I do not know how it is going to appear, how it is going to be designed, how I am going to actually utilize it, whether it is going to be a touch screen or button screen. If I'm not having an idea on that, then this MVP will not give you the actual perspective. So when you are creating an MVP, you should be giving a partial touch or partial practice or hands-on on almost all the factors that you are promising through your product development. That is how MVP will give you a better perspective on, and the coming results, obtained results from the test versions will have a greater effect on your final product. So that is how your MVP should be utilized. So Dropbox is one of the classical example for understanding MVP, where before the utilization of pen drives and all, Dropbox was one of the key element for us to utilize. So Google Drive is the modern tool that we are utilizing. Before the evolution of, I can even say next gen of Dropbox is Google Drive. Though it is not actually correct. That is how I understand this too. So Dropbox is something where if I'm having a document in my system, I'm supposed to present it to someone else. I cannot risk the safety of the content with my pen drive or any kind of flash drive that I have or floppy disk that I had during those days. So what the actual founder has done is he has encrypted this into a folder, and then there is a binary link that has been generated. That link has to be mailed. When I open that link and using the proper encryption, just like a RAR file, it will be looking like encrypting that with the proper code. Then you will be able to download all those data that has been available in the host system. So you can utilize that same data in any kind of system that you are utilizing. That is the idea of Dropbox. But this is not launched as a product, but this has been a tool that is used by one person for his personal use. When he shares the video about the utilization of this and the time that he has been saved during the process, or even the mental relief that he has, that even if I lost the pen drive, even if I don't have my pen drive with myself, I have the Dropbox, so I can use that. So that is how the video goes. You might be able to get the video in YouTube itself. Upon seeing those videos, so many people started to address that. Even I have the problem, how to utilize these kind of things. Then the system, the person who has utilized this has converted into a product, and this develops into a greatest idea or development in the history before the utilization of Google Drive. So this is that video is one fine example of how an MVP can be used as a tool to identify the actual impact of the product. So moving on, one of the last case study that I would like to share here, especially coming into understanding of the market segmentation. So during a period of 3-year-old kid to 6-year-old kid, if you're getting into a supermarket, you will be able to get these 3 people, Boost, Horlicks, and Bournvita, as one of the supplement that kids are usually consuming in their lifestyle. So this is very common thing that is available in all those supermarkets that you are finding. So when I make a fight about the sales or how the market has been reacting to these 3 products, when I try to find the winner, I was able to find out that none of these 3 are winners. We have someone else who is to be considered as winner for addressing the product in supplement market. So that is Pediasure. Pediasure is a brand which has been actually remodified the way how people are addressing the market. For instance, Abbott is the company that they are making Pediasure. What they have done is they have done a market research where under 2 years old kid, people were able to naturally feed them, or even they have so many supplements that has been utilized. So when it comes to 2 to 3, there was not actually an actual recommended product for as a supplement for those toddlers. So they have found out that as a market segmentation. The market segmentation of Abbott Industries was 2 to 3 years, but rather than creating a product and selling with the stamp of 2 to 3 years, what they have done is they made sure if I launch this product, this should be commercially sellable, for which he has made sure the right person for marketing this product is pediatrician. If you are having an infant, if you are asking for a recommendation, the only person that you will believe is pediatrician. If you are a father of a kid, you will be able to understand. If you are a mother of a kid, you will be able to understand. The only words that you will rely, rather than doctors, you will be relying on your special notation of pediatricians alone. So they have addressed the market, and then they have made it with a plan where they have conducted a national conference or international conference for all those pediatricians, grouping them together. They have addressed their market. So this is my market. I want you people to sit down and create a product that is chemically, I could say, chemically or organically perfect for the age group of 2 to 3, and it should be a better supplement for them. And the role was given to pediatricians itself. So all those people that has presented their paper in the conference had quite an impact, that they had actually contributed to the development of a product called Pediasure. So upon concluding that, the award industries has declared that this is a product that has been found or developed using all those data that you people have given into the picture as of now. So now I'm created this product. What I need you to do is, since you are actually one of the contributor for development of this product, I want you to be considered as a partner. That is how you are going to market for my product. There is physically a significant 2 to 3 year old kid is available. There is a market gap. I'm going to address it. That is how we have developed the product. And rather than putting this into a supermarket stalls where there is already a competition between Boost, Horlicks, and Bonvita, and so many people, Milo, or so many people are there. So Abad Industries has made a clear-cut launch of the product where this was available only in the medical, and this will be supplemented only with the recommendation of a pediatrician. So that is how Pediasure get into the market. They have found a market segmentation of 2 to 3 years, and they launched the product through the pediatricians, making sure that pediatricians has an actual contribution towards the development of the product. So that is the success story that Pediasure has teaching us. That is how you are supposed to look into a market. So market understanding is one of the crucial factor for making sure your product stands out and has a greater impact over the commercial markets. So summing up all those things, we are actually started from invention to innovation, and then we have understood how problem identification has to be made. Once you have a clear and concise problem statement, we are supposed to solve that using so many tools. We have applied design thinking as one of the essential tools for solving those problem statements. And then for developing that into a product, there are so many things. We have started to understand 3 concepts that are required for a product to be successful. One is novelty of the product, and the non-obvious solution, and then the most important factor is utility. Since I have at this stage I have developed a product by utilizing all those stages, then I am actually launching the product. Before launching the product, as an inventor itself, as an innovator itself, I need to understand some basic concepts of market, for which we have understood 2 terms: the difference between customer and consumer, and then there is one another lesson that is about market segmentation. And we had presented ourselves with a case study how understanding the market and finding the right gap for you will give you a better idea and better success for your launching of the product, with the case study of Pediasure as an example. So I would like to wind up my presentation here. If you have any queries, you can actually ask it out.
Thank you, sir. That was very insightful. Badhe sir, should we begin the Q&A session?
Yeah, you can. We'll start with the Q&A. So there are no question in the comment section, but I have got a couple of questions. So definitely, it was very insightful session. I just have a question with the TRL system. So you actually mentioned all the TRL systems.
Yes.
So where does the if there is a minimum viable product there, so in the TRL, where does the minimum viable product fit in?
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for asking that question. It's very nice to relate those 2 things into the picture. So as I said, TRL is something that is going to give you an idea of where your product is. MVP stands at a stage where you are testing that in a simulated environment, almost similar to the actual environment, rather than utilizing the product by 1,000 customers. We are going to utilize and test it for a smaller scope of people, around 20 or 50 people. So it will be equivalent to TRL 6 and 7 level based upon the product. Actually, it will be 6 and 7.
Okay, so it comes under 6, 7.
Yeah.
So you gave an example of Bumblebee, and also while giving that example, you showed about the canvas. So what is your opinion that when like students come with the idea, just idea is not enough. So when we look towards the canvas, student find it difficult to put those ideas into that canvas and come with the solutions. So what is your opinion on this, that how should they actually utilize that canvas to do a creative thinking with their idea?
So when coming to problem statement canvas, this is one of the efficient, as I said, it is efficient tool. It is not actually as easy or user friendly as you rightly quoted. The thing is, the right way to start is to make sure you collect all your students or team members together and conduct a brainstorming session. So have they actually have a clear picture of what they are addressing? Is the problem statement has been clear and concise, at least in their mind? Then upon brainstorming, they will be able to disclose so many data. When you are putting that into a sheet, then you will be able to get this is what the context is. You might not be able to write directly into the context that this is the scenario that you are addressing. But when you brainstorm and put all those data that has been under discussion, then redoing or re-going through those data will have an impact that it will be easy to get it over almost all those fields. Upon filling 2 or 3 boxes, right, emotional impact or quantifiable impact, or the alternatives are quite easy. Upon giving filling in 2 or 3 data, the student will actually have the confidence over himself and he believes in the team. Then they will be usually filling out. Initially, it will be a very difficult process, as you say. But once they started to taste the factor or easiness of understanding the problem statement, then they will be used to do it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Just one last question is that you gave a case study of NASA.
Yes.
But do you think that it because it is a company, but it is a department which is run by the government.
Okay.
So it is not actually an idea or something which have come up and then all the brainstorming, creative thinking was done for that, right?
Okay.
So it was for the some purpose that government want to fulfill. So government was already in the mindset that they will be funding this for a certain time period, and based on the output, they will continue the funding. So do you think that the NASA is actually a company?
No, that is not actually the way to look into it. What I insisted, I didn't start actually with the NASA while explaining the TRLs. TRLs can be addressed in various factors, but practicing that into an education institution or practicing that into simpler projects will actually help you in growing your ideas into a greater manner. Coming to the perspective of NASA, the objective that they have set is to reduce the noise that is coming out of those engines. That is the objective that they have set. They have started actually developing the concept of TRL along with the development of the project itself. So it was not pre-established or pre-existing concept during the periods of 1980s. So the concept of evolution has been happening together, and they were able to name that as various TRLs. So we are actually taking that as a learning, that being considering that as a better example. Even NASAs are practicing, then why should not we? So that is the greatest concept. So we should be trying that, so that we will be able to make sure that our products cater in a better way. If I reach TRL 4 and then I know that there is a difficulty there, then I will be looking out for help in terms of funding or technology. Then I will be, if I am progressing to 5 and 6, that will make sure, okay, I am in the right path. I can actually get this into a market. So I will be developing the product into the commercialization. So that is how I want you to pull through the stages.
Okay, so because they had a product, so they were in 5-6, so they knew
Hmm.
that they are in the right path. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. I don't see any questions in the comment section. So now I would like to, propose vote of thanks. As Purnima said that it was a very insightful session, and actually, a lot of things you have gone through from starting from creativity, then also showing the slides about empathy and also about the idea, then also giving example of Bumblebee. It was actually a very nice useful example from how actually you move from idea to the product. And also the another example of blood withdrawal. So that again, I actually had that problem every time when I'm going for the blood test. The person actually find it very difficult to search
Traumatizing
for the
experience.
yeah. So he take his time. So definitely, those type small creativities are very useful and very important, and you have actually gave a nice view for all the things which are important. So I thank you for this session, and it was very nice session with lot of information, and definitely the flow was very nice with the coming from the creativity till the MVP till the product. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Praveen sir, for the opportunity, and I would like to thank everyone behind the screen that are working for continuously over a period of time. That is conducting a program for every month is not an easy task. Thank you so much for working towards this kind of development in the community, sir. Thank you so much, and I would like to thank
Thank
the
you.
host for being so nice and conducting this in a very efficient manner. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you, sir.
Thank thank you.